EBS TV, Television Reloaded.
Okay, good morning and welcome to Issues and Answers, a current affairs program where we discuss issues that are trending and make recommendations on how to move our society forward. I'm Josephine Einihe, and this morning we'll be looking at epileptic power supply in Nigeria. If you've been in this country for some time, you know that power has been one of our major concerns, and monies have been spent, a lot of monies have been spent, and sometimes we are still where we are, and there's nothing. But for those that are privileged, some areas you have constant power supply, but in some areas the supply is fractional, and sometimes they don't even get at all. And this has been affecting businesses in our society. And one of our stories, one of the artisans, they cried out that the cost of powering their generator is making the business not too good for them. This morning, how did we get to this level? What has been done? The federal government one time privatized this sector. They changed it from the one name to the other, but it's still the same. So we have some persons that will be, gentlemen that will be looking at this epileptic power supply. What can we do? The one thing I know, no society can move forward without constant power supply. It's a big issue. So you just have to listen to us, and I believe those in authority that can make vital decisions will take it from there, and that will do something on our beloved country, Nigeria. All right, the guests with us will be looking at this topic, epileptic power supply. We have Engineer Solomon Titi. Okay, he is the General Secretary, Nigeria Society of Engineers, Bini Branch, and also an energy consultant. Engineer Solomon, you're welcome.
Thank you very, very much.
All right. And we have Kayode Aluede. He's a public analyst. So thank you for your time.
Pleasure, Josephine.
Okay, let me come to the engineer, the energy consultant. Okay. What is your take on the epileptic power supply in this country?
Well, when we talk about power supply in Nigeria today, problem is actually very, very complex. Starting from generation, transmission, to distribution. And again, most of us, the end users, we interface with the distribution system of power supply chain. And again, we look at what has been happening over the years in the distribution sector. You also know that, yes, federal government has, in 2013, tried to unbundle the system by bringing in the private sector. But again, what we are seeing, we have not fared better. Looking at the activities in that sector over the years till now, you see that there has not been meaningful development, and this has also grossly affected our businesses. Today, you discovered everybody now seems to have a generating plant in his house. You hardly go to any home where you don't have a generator, just to power your immediate needs. For instance, we are in the digital world. Nobody now goes out without having cell phone charge. And in doing all this, you have to ensure that you have a generator to do that, because the electricity, as it were, that we all have long yearned for, has not actually been there for our businesses, has not been there for our household use. And I take an instance to look at exactly what has been happening in this sector. Federal governments on their own have said yes, they have, put in billions of naira into this sector. And again, what is the impact on the end users? What is the impact on the customer? What is the impact on the citizens? And this has affected our business seriously to the extent that the prices of goods, prices of commodities are skyrocketing every day, because you hardly do any business today that does not really have major inputs on electricity. The hotel, those who have hotel managements, those who have hotels, hotelers, they run on diesel maybe for about 12 hours in a day, and you don't expect them to put this money into that business, and at the end of the day don't increase the cost, because you're in business. The sole aim of business is to mass profit, and in doing that you have to ensure that you put in your cost of diesel, which is there. For instance, other production sectors. So this has grossly affected
Thank
our
you.
economy.
Thank you so much. Let me come to Mr. Alwede. You heard when he was talking that a lot of billions have been expended into the power sector, and yet we are still where we are. Do you think that this is beyond us, that we're not going to come out of it? Is it, we cannot just pray for it, or is this situation beyond us, that despite the huge amount spent in the power sector, we still have this problem of epileptic power supply?
Well, thanks, Josephine. I think it's a pleasure again to keep talking about issues like this. You see, the take is very simple. That I think the average Nigerian fundamentally knows that this system is not working. Foundationally, Nigeria is moving towards a crash, a collapse. The power sector is just one of it. That the system will work, it is true, it will work. We will get out of it. The issue is that we have always had wrong persons. We have been unfortunate as a country, because if you just oppose Nigeria against other smaller African countries, let's take West Africa. If it's working in Ghana, it should work here. If it's working in Lome, Cotonou, it should work here. Why is it not working here? Earth is all people. God created mankind, and we are here making it fail. We seem to publicize what is not working more. It's not the money that is put there. It's just fraud and corruption. They've killed the whole system, because anytime you keep recycling the same people, anytime you keep doing the same thing without bringing in experts that we have a God-fearing mind to change the system, you keep getting the same results. It is very clear that this country has been taking back more than 40 years or 50 years into indebtedness and ineptitude. This country is not moving. The lifespan of Nigerians are shortened because we have people who have a different agenda of making the people live. The quality of life of the average Nigerian, this power supply and all that is shortened. The quality is very poor. People are strangulated. Now, the same people can change the system. God will not come down to change Nigeria. God will use people. Not until we get the right people. Okay, it was changed 2013 when this new administration was coming. They made all kind of promises and efforts. The error has always been there. But you see, since we grew up to this point, it has been one regime blaming another. When it was being privatized, they said so many things were not working. It was fraud. They killed the system. Like most public institutions in Nigeria, they just finished the system. They collapsed it because of wrong leadership and deep corruptedness in diabolism and whatever you can. It's just satanism. Most of our public institutions like NEPA, they say they have to privatize it. How did it get there? The PSC and the Sierra Leonean Electricity Board, it has not changed name. The Senegalese Senelec, that has not changed name. In Cotonou here, where our people go and buy fairly used clothes and they are using their ports to do business, they go there constantly because the system is working their light, and Nigeria is supplying most of these countries. It's a country where we are just putting the horse before the cart. We like doing show outside. Nigeria is the big brother of Africa. When the head of state or most of our generals or most of our frontliners go outside, they give a wrong impression. They donate money, they assist. Nigerian government was sewing uniform for the Gambian police and prison. Nigerian government supplies light to Sierra Leone. Nigerian supplies light to help Cotonou, they help Togo. And these people that we are giving outlets of light is working. The post office institution was killed. In some countries in West Africa, you can still post a letter, buy stamp, and you post the letter, it still arrives. They technically frustrated the system. Now it's just about satanism. There's nowhere it will not work if you have the right persons. Power is transient. Government go, government come. But instead of us looking at the forces that will make it work, we are just facing other issues that will make the average Nigerian dehydrated and die before its time. There is no public system that is working again. Light is just one of them, and it's diabolical and painful. Why? The cost of running your life today becomes more expensive. The pollution becomes more expensive. People are strangulated. The high cost of living, unfortunately, in Edo, like in every system, people do business to make profit. Most institutions are struggling to buy diesel, including where we sit here. I'm a partner here, I work here. How should somebody be sweating? A chief executive is sweating because he can't buy diesel to run a station. What kind of life is that?
There's supposed to be a pass of
parts of supply. You talk about generation distribution. The whole system is diabolical. We have one person. They divided the country. Jonathan came and said, "Okay, let's privatize NEPA since they have stolen the wires and stolen NEPA as a name." They gave it to PACN because it's just about nonsense. It takes one person to make a system work. Now, when the change came, we are not getting anything from this country. We are not getting anything. We have suffered so much as followers.
Okay.
Now go to the post office, you can't post letter. The water board is not working. People are going into borehole and solar. Just check the central system, the schools, the universities that government is running.
All right, we'll still come back to you.
So what I would say?
Engineer Solomon, we've heard that there's no problem with the power generation, that they have enough power, according to what they do say, but it's either the transmission or the distribution. Do you have something to say on that, please?
Yes, so much to say in that direction. But again, I will diversify a little bit to your earlier question to my counterpart, my brother here, Pastor. If we could come out of this problem. Now again, I just want to say one or two things. Coming out of the problem is very, very simple. If Nigeria, if our government actually have this sincere political way, we will come out of it very, very easily. For instance, what is killing the power sector as out of today is government policies. There have not been genuine concerns, and there have not been genuine sincerity, ingenuity in the part of government in ensuring that this problem is solved. For instance, even government policies is even killing hitherto the power that we have. We have IPP that we all know here in Howard, very close to us here.
Okay.
And close to 400 megawatts of power is wasted there.
What do you think is the problem?
Again, government policy. You even see the neighborhood, the Ihova community whereby this power is being generated, they are in darkness.
Can't something be done? We have House of Rep members, we have some. Can they bring this to the assembly so that we can discuss this?
Yes, of course. That's why I said the enabling laws.
Okay.
For instance, NEC is there as a regulator. And one of the major problems that we have today in the electricity sector is that NEC is not playing that role with sincerity.
Okay.
You can't have a system whereby we say we don't have electricity, we are talking of development, and yet the same electricity is within that neighborhood, and our own law and policy is not enabling us to use that same electricity.
Benefit from the system.
I go back again, look at the Oshomo, the mod talked about Oshomo power. Oshomo power is now in use, and as of today, 22 megawatts of power is generated right here in Ologbo. And again, the Ologbo community, they have been in darkness for over 4 years. And they have a system whereby electricity is generated at the back of their house, and yet they are in darkness. All again because of government policy. So I actually
please, if you can enlighten us on that policy, because some of us don't understand what the policy is all about.
Yes. The policy again is about the regulator, which is NEC,
Okay.
Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission. NEC puts in place laws that they design laws that will ensure that yes, the electricity system, there is synergy between generation, transmission, and distribution. For instance, what is happening today is that, an entity, about 4 states has been given to Benin Electricity Distribution Company. And in that state, they have said, okay, you are in charge. But again, we all know that this company, for instance, have not been able to, live up to expectation in giving electricity to consumers. And when I made mention earlier on that, yes, the problem is simple. Okay, let the electricity distribution company, areas that they can sufficiently handle and give electricity to, let them, work on those areas and ensure that electricity is distributed within that area. But the independent power generation companies that have also come to, alleviate the sufferings of customers, alleviate the sufferings of companies, they should also be allowed to run the area which they know that, yes, sufficiently they can give power to.
Okay, before you continue, you are the secretary of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Yes. Concerning these policies, have you done anything? Have you come together as a group and let the people know that these policies, or you talk to the honorable members, this is what is stifling us? Have you done anything on that direction?
Yes. 2 years ago, I was part of a sensitization forum that actually had some, workshops to talk about this electricity problem as it affects citizens and customers in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. And again, just last month here, I also delivered a paper in the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Benin branch, whereby I also talked about how we could come out of this logjam of this electricity problem. Mm-hmm. And about 2 months ago, I funded a program in collaboration with a partner in New Jersey on sustainable power supply for the advancement of African development. Mm-hmm. That forum is on. We are still forming synergy. A lot of members are coming together with us now to ensure that, yes, we could now come out and begin to engage governments.
Okay.
To tell them, yes, these laws are not helping us. And if the laws are not helping us, we have to come together to ensure that we strive to ensure that this power that actually drives the economy, this power that is a major commodity for everybody. There's no human being today that does not use power. Wow. We have to look at it and ensure that, yes, the NEC, they do the needful, they do that which is expected of them by the law. And the electricity bulk traders, which also ensure that what is being sold to the generating companies, the monies are collected. Mm-hmm. They also do their law. They also do their own. And again, the customers. Some of us, I just have to also speak on that. Some of us are also used to this, what I would call electricity theft. Bypass. We just look, it's government's own. The truth of the matter is that if your neighbor out there is bypassing electricity, you are the one paying for it. You are paying for it directly or indirectly.
Through estimated billing.
Or having darkness. Because if at the end of the day, the generating company or the distribution company have been giving some quantum of energy to collect money, and they don't collect the money, then the next month they will not be able to run it. And
all right.
In that we are in darkness.
Okay.
So we all have something to do as regards the electricity supply.
I will still come back to that question, talking about the power generation. Is it right that we have enough power in the country? Is the distribution channel that is the problem, or the transmission?
Okay, again, what is generated today, as of today in Nigeria, is about 12,500 megawatts.
12,500
megawatts. That is,
as in Nigeria?
Yes. And in use, I think we have about between 5,000 megawatts that is used across board in the country today. And when you were asking the question, if the generation is the problem and the transmission is the problem. The facility, the infrastructure that we have in transmission company today will not be able, if we are to transmit what the generation has on ground, if we are to transmit it on the transmission facility that we have today, it will not sustain it. There will be total collapse.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So we have like 7,000 powers being generated, wasting.
Yes.
And while we are still in darkness.
Yeah, while we are still in darkness.
Okay. Aloide, sir. What, like, we have civil societies.
Yeah.
Is from a group, the civil engineers of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Do you think they are doing their part? Because we are in this mix together. Do you think this group, independent organizations, are doing their part in ensuring that this constant power problem is resolved?
Well, I don't think so, because if you look at the kind of system that we operate today as a nation, Nigeria, and the kind of democratic operation that is going on, is mostly sectional. It's not inclusive. You see, the government, the policies are the issues. The people running this economy, they are the issues. It's like most of these civil societies, most of these pressure groups, everybody is crying. They are so distanced from effecting any change that people in power, the senators, our House of MPs, and the presidency, they look at every other organization as hirelings, people who are hungry, because they feel that they have made so much sacrifice to get to the position because they don't have the interest of the people. So the group pressure is not taken too seriously. Even if we have some NGOs and civil society that have made their marks in terms of pressure, but most of these organizations are subservient to the powers that be. This clique of policy makers, and so they look too heavy to be handled. So they operate selectively. It's not an inclusive system. If you go too far, they hack you. So the system is not working. Everybody is strangulated to key in into what the policy makers, the people that actually want what to be, will be. They cannot say they are not aware of what is happening. In this country, from here across to Abuja, Kogi, every sector, the distributed network is quite poor, and people are not getting anything. And like my friend was saying, that the final consumers, they are not helping issues, for instance. It is very clear. It is because people are disoriented about the system. They don't trust the system. They feel that in this system, from the presidency to the cleaner, they are all thieves. So electricity theft is not what you preach to them, because you don't have the moral or local standing. Everybody virtually is involved in it. You have people who steal, people who are policy makers. You can't enter
That's a word you use, everybody.
No, most people.
Okay.
Most people are involved in the mess.
Yes.
The so-called policy makers, when they leave their Asu Rock or their Hado chambers to their village communities where they were elected from, there's electricity theft even in their family houses there, because they don't have enough conscience. There are some people that you can't enter their premises to say you are coming to check to make them pay bills.
Beware of dogs.
Beware of dogs, or beware of military zone keep off, or senator zone keep off. All manner of stigmatization. They put all manner of fraudulent signposts. And so they scare the people. And the people in the street too, there's so much leakage because people don't trust the system. These hirelings they put in the street to be collecting, the remittances are poor. It is very poor, because now you see, like the forces that are being given to one woman, I don't know, there's a popular person that is in charge of a room care or whatever name. It has become like a stigma, like a bad dream for us for so many, many years. They're always crying that they are not getting enough to what they are distributing, because they are not using experts. They use some hirelings who carry naked wires across the street like some vagabonds. They collect money from people, and there are no meters. People are not getting, what they are supposed to. Before you say you want to make a system work, most of the homes in Benin are like desolate homes. Most of the houses don't have order. The meters, people who manage to complete their houses, they can't apply for meters and get. And so there's a fraudulent system where that the hirelings, at the end of the month, they carry their wires delicately delicately, and they are harassing neighborhoods and collecting money. They are paying directly to their pockets because most of the money they collect, they don't have receipt for it. But for the few less than 1% who have conscience to go buy prepaid meter and estimated bills, it looks like a big scandal. There's no way they can meet up because this system, this distributive system, they have not looked at it very well. The interest of the people that they give this thing to manage, they don't have the interest of the people, because in everything, like they gave you so much first things to run. We agree that you needed to make profit. How they came about giving them the forces that cannot be changed, because it'd be like now, if a system is not working, if you take public opinion across Nigeria, across board about this, the people are just disoriented. There's nothing you talk. The personality of the people, they have their names everywhere. Some governors took them to. They say the person is connected to Jonathan, is connected to dead bodies, is a friend to the senator. You cannot actually get reprisal in the law court for what is not working well. So what are we doing? We get strangulated.
Okay, all right. You spoke something about infrastructural deficit, that enough power is being generated, but the facilities to transmit it is not there. What can be done to remedy that situation?
Again, is government coming with that sincere purpose, political will, and ingenuity to ensure that, yes, any money that is meant for the power sector driven process actually gets there. You can't say, oh, for instance, every year you hear a whole lot of billions of naira is being budgeted into the sector. What comes out of it?
Nothing.
If we say, oh, yes, we have a transmission network from Kogi State to Edo to Delta, at the end of the day, to Osun, we are infusing XYZ amount of billions into the network in a year. At the end of the year, the government, the legislators ought to come out and said, yes, this money that has been meant to do this amount of projects, let's look at it. Has it been done? It is not monitored. You see a case of bringing money from the right-hand side of the hand and also collecting it back from the left-hand side. Yeah. We all know all this, and those are the bane of development in this sector today.
So the problem we have is insincerity of those in position of authority.
Yes.
All right. Okay, Mr. Ledwe, let me come to you.
Yeah.
Despite this poor power supply, these problems we're talking about, NEC, the National Regulatory Commission, yes. they are saying they are going to increase the price, the tariff for electricity, and it starts this September. So what do you see? That decision.
The system is that they always come up with systems and policies. Those statements are cheap to make. Those systems will not work. Those policies there, because people are already looking at Plan B. Like my colleague said, most homes are generating their power. The central system is paying. Where is failing? Whether they increase their tariff to 1 million naira, whether the fuel pump price, people have already lost confidence in the statements that our policymakers give. There are so many things they have said that fails because people are not interested, because they don't take the integrity of their statements as honest or serious. That is true. So today, people are working at the Plan B. The solar energy companies are everywhere doing publicity. I have a generating plant in my place. I have some solar power to generate, to power my TV and my system. So people are not interested, just like the way water board is dead, or it's dying away. The post offices are closed. They now sell suya and newspaper in front of government houses. It now becomes parking lots. So the NEPA as it is, no matter the policies they propagate or galvanize, very soon the Catholic churches are all using solar panels. The streets are being paneled solar. The people are always thinking about Plan B, because you have these Western companies that are ready to align and cooperate. So it gradually becomes a capitalist system where the government system is failing. People have to make use of their minds to make sure their life don't fail. Whether they say they are increasing tariff, whether they say they are increasing fuel, whether they are saying they are increasing pump price for water, except there is no God. They can't increase the amount of air we breathe. Let them increase everything. We will still live the old age because the soul that sinneth will die. and every day they die. If you escape wickedness here, it's waiting for you in the air. From here to Abuja, I traveled recently, it's like a death trap, no roads at all. That is not power supply. All the asphalt is off the road, like a death trap. I say, why?
And we keep borrowing.
And we keep borrowing. Now, there's a train station that they have floated from Ajakuta Itakpe to Warri. So we have to take it and stop in Igbanke Agbo because the roads are not there. More than 2,000 trucks are stopped because there's no earth, there's no asphalt at all. I said, where do these people pass to Abuja? Egoma is even worse. We had to go pass into the crease of Igumudumu, and when you are passing through those villages, the villagers put a roadblock and they're taking money because everybody is government. Why you come spoil their farm roads? So it's as bad. That is not electricity. So you understand now. So it's a tragic system. It's
very tragic.
It's a tragic system. I now say, where do the people pass to Abuja?
They fly.
And so the Satan is waiting for there. There's no air space. There's no parking space. If you do wickedness on the road, Satan will bust your plane there. So
all right. Okay. Engineer Solomon, talking about increasing tariff for electricity. Do you think this is the right time, or they should stabilize it first before any increment?
Well, again, electricity tariff has been increased a couple of times now. What's the citizens, what do they get? What do they benefit?
The consumers.
The consumers, what do they benefit? Some cases you hear people saying we are paying for darkness. You just see a case whereby in your house they bring estimated billing of what you don't consume
at all.
First, I am not going against increasing tariff, but if you want to increase tariff, stabilize the system. Let the system work.
Let the product be available.
Let the product be available. Then let me have a measure of consumption.
What you consume.
It's satanic for you to come to me and tell me I am consuming
60,000
60,000 naira worth of energy in a month. And if due diligence and the military process is put in place, you see that I'm not even consuming up to 8,000 naira, and yet you are bringing a bill of 60,000 naira to me.
Because you have the power.
Those are the issues, and that is why you see a lot of persons are not paying their bills. And over the years, in the last 5 years, there has been this issue of ensuring that federal government has been saying, making all manner of statements concerning every home having meters.
I was coming to that. Almost like what they said 6 million electricity consumers unmetered. As we are talking right now, almost more than 6 million of electricity consumers are unmetered.
That statement is very, very correct. It's very, very correct. And when these distribution companies just came in 2013, the issue that came up then was one of the cardinal rule was to ensure that every customer is metered. And they said they were going to do that one in a couple of 2-3 years. 2-3 years. 2013 to today. How many years?
No,
and over 6,000 of our customers don't still have meters. And what is difficult in having meters? What is difficult in a customer having meters? It's a business. And I can say it right here. If you give me that contract, if you give me that opportunity to say, meter Edo State for instance, I can meter Edo State in the last, just give me 1 year. Yeah. I'll put up a policy, I'll put up a program to meter the state 1 year without having issues. Look at investors, they are all here, they are all over looking for where to invest their money. So the truth of the matter is that
they are not ready.
They are not ready. The sincerity is not there. We are not telling ourselves the truth.
They are enjoying it because.
And again, the disco is also harvest time for them, because they have the opportunity to say, "Oh, yes, Mr. Patrick, you consume
this much.
You consume 60,000 naira in a month, whereas ordinarily the man was not even having electricity for
like 3 weeks.
For 3 weeks.
Inside the 1 month.
Inside the 1 month. So we all know the story. And this is one of the most critical issues in the distribution company. And if the issue of metering is solved today, you see that people will on their own just walk to to the
electricity board to pay
the electricity board and pay
That's
their.
it. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
There are a whole lot of Nigerians that
orderly.
They're willing to pay if there is stable power
because we
supply.
know what we spend on diesel, we know what we spend on generators,
well, solar,
even with the
whatever.
noise.
And the generator is even killing our people.
Yeah.
Yes, you see today a whole lot of persons, just as my friend here said. You see, if you count 10 houses now, you will see 5 to 6 houses with solar power. Those who don't have solar power, maybe they are inverters. So everybody is embracing this technology to ensure that yes,
Life goes on.
life goes on, because electricity is as important as our oxygen that we breathe.
Okay.
Everybody needs electricity.
And before my next question, I believe that when there is no stable power supply, crime thrives. There's a lot of criminality where there is no light, because if a city is well lit, there's constant light, you see yourselves, and the other person will not come to pickpocket you or want to bring your handbag. Because most of us have experienced this. So when we're talking about reducing crime in the society, if there is a stable power supply, I believe criminal activities will reduce. That's my own take on that. But let me move to the next question right now. What can state government do? Because can't state government come on their own to say, okay, this is what we can do. Let's take this is our work. Let's generate this. Let's transmit this. Apart from waiting from the federal government to do it all.
Well, in fairness to
You are the energy consultant. I'm asking you this question.
yes, in fairness to state governments, I will drive home my own state, Edo State here. The government led by Governor Godwin Obaseki has actually done so much in giving the sector, giving electricity policies as it affects the state support. I'm quite very much aware of the support which was given to the Oshomo Power when it was constructed, and up till now, Oshomo Power is powering all state agencies.
So
Okay.
around the Sapler Road,
Yes,
as
yes,
is.
yes.
State
I
agencies.
just remember when you say so, because I remember EBS is yet to get. But I also think he's working out something to ensure
Alright.
that
Yeah.
this network goes round, so that all state agencies, but as it were, I can say 90% of Edo State government agencies are on Oshomo Power.
That is
All
a laudable one.
All the hospitals, the House of Assembly, Government House, they are all enjoying 24/7 power. And that is also to the support from the Edo State government. And again, he has actually realized what energy and power can do for the development of a state. You can see the Edo Hub is also on Oshomo Power.
Yeah, okay.
Those are supports that have been given to maybe small, medium scale businesses to also strive, which I quite also appreciate.
And we are thinking of moving into residential buildings also. Yeah, is that possible?
That is possible.
In the
again,
long run, yeah.
It's possible in the long run, but again, it's policy.
Okay.
And that policy has to do with the federal government and the NEC. So if enabling laws are being put in place to ensure that a household, hotels and other customers benefit, why not? For those power that have been wasting, they can easily be translated to
Okay, what about talking about that power plant here? You said that have like 400 capacity.
Yes, Ihobo. The IPP at Ihobo.
So what do you think can be done? What can the government do right now? Even the state government, Edo State government, what can the state government do to ensure that those of us within these houses, we get electricity from there?
You see, the problem actually is that when the power is generated at Ihobo, most is put to the national grid.
Okay.
And once it gets to the national grid, it becomes a government property. It's no longer domiciled for the states to use, and that has been the critical issue. So if government could say, oh, to this extent that you have generated, 40% should be domiciled
for the states,
then it becomes a state property and it becomes in use for the state's development.
All right. What's your take on that? That the federal government now believe that when it goes to the national grid, it becomes everybody's property, and the people that provided the land and everything for such a project, they are not benefiting from it.
It's like the petroleum bill. You know, there's always
Okay.
there's always an interest group that most of the people who generate resources and power, they end up suffering. It is a tragedy. Why not leave the state? Why, if you pass it to the federal government, they sit on it, it will fail. Where the power is being generated, just give an example of Odugu, for instance, where you have the indigenous owners of the land that the plant is planted are in perpetual darkness. That's wickedness. It's part of the policies that are not working. Man's inhumanity to man. You generate power, you sublet it to federal government. By the time you get to federal government, they kill it. That's why we're suffering. So why not leave the power and let the state government run indigenously their power supply outlets so that the people, because I seem to observe that this issue of power and, you know, quality of life vary from state to state in the Republic of Nigeria. That's what I've been able to establish. The quality of life, light distribution, whether by federal government or whatever, the standard of living vary. The infrastructure and the working facilities vary from state to state. We suffer too much here. We suffer too much here. I've been able to travel across some of the states where they have more stable. The people distributing are more honest, and so they are more humane in distribution. They are not wicked like Shylocks. Of course, it is very clear that the federal system is fraudulent. This meter that we're expecting, like the engineer said, it doesn't take him 1 year
To meter everywhere.
to meter everywhere. That's an individual. There are institutions that are working. For instance, in Canaan land since 1990 today, they didn't see light for 1 day. That's 1 month's initiative. Most of the Catholic churches, they are running. Now, they are running. Most of the people are not so much confident in the federal system because it is frustrating and you can kill any system. Productivity is low. How can you enter a cathedral? There's no church. How can the priest preach? So people are working on plan B. The federal system is not working. Why not let operate state autonomy?
Okay, going back to restructuring. All right, let me, before we round it up, talking about rationing the electricity power supply. In some areas, it's 6 hours, some areas 4 hours. Okay, you are on the same street. This part of it,
there are no hours.
You see some parts. Okay, this is their time from 6 to this time. Are we going to continue like this? Do you think that this situation is heady enough for the country?
Well, electricity is a social commodity, and it ought to be for the benefit of all, rich or poor. But again, you now discover a situation whereby the distribution company now tagged areas whereby they give 12 hours, 16 hours. They even run some very special lines to ensure that some persons
don't sleep in
darkness.
Wow.
It ought not to be. When in the 80s,
we had it free.
Yes, in the 70s, 80s, there was no dichotomy. Everybody was enjoying this power. But today, every day now, you discover that the distribution company are providing means to ensure that there are some segregation. There are class systems for different persons.
They are bringing class to the distribution.
They are bringing class to the distribution network.
There are some areas that don't get it at all.
This is killing. Everybody needs the electricity.
Okay, and there's no much time. We would have talked about this transformer. Most community, they will contribute money to buy the transformer.
Don't even go there.
That one is not no-go area.
Don't even go there.
Oh my God!
That is part of.
They will now be waiting for them to connect them.
You buy the transformer, then you hand over the same transformer to them as their property.
And in the night, they come and take the spare parts and give it to another company.
What could be more fraudulent
than that?
Oh.
So it's,
all right, there are a lot of problems in this sector, the electricity sector. What is the way forward, engineer sir?
Well, the way forward is to ensure that governments put structures in place, provide legal structures, legal framework to ensure that all the department agencies that regulates power actually do their work. And if that is done, you will see that the little that we are generating will be able to go down to the end users, which are the customers. And again, government have to ensure that the infrastructural decay, the infrastructural breakdown system in the transmission networks are put in place. If you are traveling now, most of the time when you are traveling, for instance, if you are traveling from Benin to Ekpoma, when you see the electricity poles, you see the electricity cables, you are ashamed. It's a shambles. And over 10, 15 years, nothing is being done. And I'm still assuring you while sitting here that in another 3 years, you're still going to remain like that. Even in another 5 years, it's still going to remain like that. And yet we have a government.
Okay, thank you. The way forward.
What we need is conscience and the fear of God. We need an inclusive government. Most of the government operatives that we have today are sectional. They are not inclusive. Once you start to tell them what is right, they see you as an enemy. They stigmatize you. Because government running now is like a clique.
Clickism.
It's like clickism. If you don't belong to them, you are against them. And the thing is not working. An inclusive government must be able to do opinion sampling of the people. The people I'm leading. We have been talking and talking and talking. How much of the talk has been affected into practical use? That is it. So it still depends. God will not come down to change the system. The people are dying. The people are dying of hunger, stigmatization, and wretchedness, poverty. We are not making profit as a country. It's going more deficit and deficit. The average Edo person now who buys generator or diesel, he has a cool room. Of course, the fridges are not working again. You go buy block every day. The ice block that we're buying for 200 naira is 400 naira.
So the fish will be, you can't buy fish anymore.
You can buy fish at all again.
You can know why the cost of fish is very expensive.
So we buy block most of the weekends because you need to because the system is not working. Okay. At times, some of the light they bring is like candlelight. It's not even sure whether there's no way you can brand the power supply or generating system.
Okay.
So we want a system where the government should be more, because most of this government that we have from the state house to the whatever, they are complacent.
Okay, thank
very
you
far
so
from the people.
All right, this power issue is a very serious issue with us, and from the take care, we should be sincere. If we want this country to move forward, all hands needs to be on deck so that we can move the country forward. We'll be looking at epileptic power supply in Nigeria, and we have Engineer Solomon Ebomotiti. Thank you once again for your time. He is the General Secretary, Nigeria Society of Engineers, Benin Branch, also an energy consultant. Thank you for your thoughts. And we have a public analyst with us, Kayode Alwede. Once again, thank you.
It's a pleasure,
all right, I'm Josephine Eimie. Thank you for staying with us, and let's do things right. Nigeria is our only country. We don't have any other country to run to. Stay blessed and do have a productive day ahead.
EBS TV, television reloaded.